Shalom, all praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace, mercy to the hopeful elect, the 144,000 men that are doing this work in sincerity and in truth around the four corners of the earth, and much love to the 1/3 and the innumerable multitude of you believers out there. To you all I say shalom. I'm the brother Yeshaya from the Great Millstone West Palm Beach Church, and I pray, Lord willing, that this lesson is edifying through the Spirit. All right, this is going to be a relatively quick lesson. This is inspired, of course, through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI, but it's actually, I got to give credit due to beloved brother Ramak down in Miami. And that's because, I spoke to him on the phone about 2 nights ago, and actually yesterday we had the privilege of going to see them brothers again. Got some wise words from Captain Lawyer down there too. All the brothers, man, all the brothers down there are beautiful spirits. But something Ramak was saying, that he mentioned, he kind of mentioned it 2 different ways. The first way he said, man, we in good shape, brother. He said that a couple of times, and then I remember what he said the first night. He said, we better off than these other people. We better off than everybody else. And we definitely going to be better off than them in the times to come. And, that resonated with me. And I was like, man, I got to do a lesson on this. It's because we see the times that we're in. We see through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI what's coming down the drain. We see what's coming down the pipeline, man. All right. We see, right, the scriptures say, where there is no vision, the people perish. Okay, and through the Spirit, the Lord has given us that eyesight to be able to see, to be able to prophesy the things that are coming towards Babylon, the things that are coming to America and around the earth. You got cats now giving up the name, right, which they didn't deserve it in the first place, man. Got cats crossing the name of the Lord. The Lord gonna cross them out, man. You got guys that saying the C-hip ain't the MOTB no more. You see, so we're just looking at a weird generation of people, of fallouts and bug outs, but ultimately even these everyday people, right? The thing is, they feel the squeeze and the pressure of what's happening in Babylon, but the thing is, they don't want to realize that it's really occurring. So not only are we in good shape because we're able to see what's coming, but also because we got YAHAWASHI to defend us, to help us, to get us through these trials and tribulations, right? And to know that the Lord is going to provide for us through it all, man, And so I wanted to I got about 3 precepts in one section that I wanted to get. Let me start with this one. This is 1 Thessalonians 1:3. It says, remembering without ceasing your work of faith and labor of love and patience of hope in our Lord Yahawashi Hamashiach and the sight of Yahweh and our Father. You see, so brother, remembering without ceasing your work of faith. So you got to remember the love that Yahawashi got for us, the sacrifices he made, right? And that we do this as a labor of love, that's what it comes down to. So because we're laboring in love for the Lord, he's going to love to show us great things where the rest of the world is falling apart, right? We always talk about the death and devastation that's about to happen to America, but it's like, what manner of conversation are we going to be in, right? What position are we going to be in when all of these people are losing their minds, right? When we read Isaiah 65, it says that they're going to have a vexation of spirit, right? Vexation of mind. While we're eating and drinking, they're going to be howling, right? And they're not going to have the basic necessities. So we are in good shape to know that he says, my servant shall eat, my servant shall drink. Brother, how such seemingly small things, but such powerful words. Because everybody eats and drinks every day now, you're like, oh, it ain't no big deal. But when you read the counteracting part of that scripture, it says that many shall thirst. Matter of fact, let me just go ahead and get to it. Let me just pull it out. This lets you know how powerful the Lord is in a time where everybody doesn't have the basic means for survival. He's going to give it to us. So that's going to be like high level things in those times, man. This Isaiah 65 and verse 13. It says, therefore, thus said the Lord Yahawah, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. You see that? So he's saying that to the wicked, right? The wicked are going to be hungry while his elect are eating. Now that's, imagine, you know, brothers, we are, all you brothers should have taken a fast by now, right? You know, no matter how young you are, brother, you should have fasted at least one time by now. So you understand that fasting can prove difficult, right? Even when the spirit is on you. So how much more when you're used to just eating every day? Some of these people in the world have never fasted a day in their life, right? So that now you're going to be in a position where you're forced to not eat. You have no choice but to not eat, right? So this says they're going to be hungry. This famine that we're talking about, right? It says, behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Right? You every day you can get water. It's a vending machine. Wherever you are, it's a fucking vending machine within range. There's a grocery store within range. There's a CVS, a Walgreens within walking distance. You know? Shit, there's even a damn pond or something nearby where if it really got down to it. But the thing is, the Lord's going to dry up these lakes, these rivers, these ponds. The water that is going to be left is going to be salt water. So they can't drink it. If they do drink it, it's going to make them more thirsty. That's how cold the Lord is. Oh, it's a big-ass body of undrinkable water. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. It says, behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. So this is a part of that good shape. This is a setup for success, brothers. This is YAHAWASHI saying, if you serve me, I'm going to set you up for righteous success in the days that's coming. Right? And this is the point here. It says, behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart. And we're talking about the time where America's in all out chaos. We're going to be singing, praising the name of YAHAWASHI for joy of heart. It says, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart and shall howl for vexation of spirit. That says in the NLT, it says, my servants will rejoice, but you will be sad and ashamed. My servants will sing for joy, but you will cry in sorrow and despair, man. These people are going to be in great despair and sorrow. You see? It's because they're not going to have the Lord on their side because they aren't in that same position that we in to be in good shape. You see? This is Wisdom of Solomon 6 and 10. It says, for the Most High is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love. See, the Lord is not unrighteous to forget our labor of love. See, the thing is, when you're dealing with Esau, you know, Esau, you'll go and you'll make Esau his company. You know, he was making, $50K before you came in there. Now your company is $1 million company yearly. Esau forget that you did all that. He'll fire your ass the next day. You see? But the Lord says he is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love. So all these lessons that we do, all of the videos that we do, all of the labor that the apostles have put in, right? It says we have entered into their labors. Could you imagine? That's why I say I've been telling Gabar lately, I'm glad we don't serve an Edomite God, man. Could you imagine that? Everything that you do, you just instantly forget about it. All the servitude that you've given. The scriptures talk about when you have a good servant and how you're supposed to reward him, man. You see? He said he is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor. So the Lord ain't forgotten about all of these things that brothers are doing. It says, which ye have showed towards his name, and that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister, right? So that we don't just do this in the name of a false God. We do this in his name. We do this in the name of Yahawah and Yahawashi. You see, that's another big reason why he's not going to forget that labor of love. So all these guys are saying the name of Yahawashi is not his real name. Well, that means they don't have a labor of love, and he's going to forget their work, and their works aren't going to follow them because they haven't done it towards his name. They've done it towards an idol God. So therefore, they're going to have to be put out. So you think they're going to be in good shape in the times to come? Right? You think they're going to be better off in the times to come? No, those dudes are going to get immensely destroyed, decapitated, undefended, disregarded. They're going to be down bad, man. And so it says that we minister to the saints, right? This is an act of service. And once again, minister going to servitude, right? When you have a minister in the church, even though that's through, he's the guy doing some type of service to the church. So we minister to the saints. We minister to the brothers, right? Even the small things, brothers, are ministering, you know. And just last night, you know, is a brother that got a relatively brother who only been coming around recently, and you know, Gabar was like, "Hey, brother," you know, he's like, "Hey, let me help you with that." He was looking for some aluminum foil for his bag. These brothers made some good food for us, and Gabar was like, "Let me help you with that." Gabar took his bag and his food, and he couldn't find aluminum foil, so Gabar bagged it up for him, you know, and made it nice and tight where he can carry it, you know. But that seems like a small thing, but how many friends in your world do shit like that? You know, and this is, you know, of course that's low level, but it's beautiful because I ain't never, you know, your friends in the world don't bag up your food for you. You know what I'm saying? They don't be like, "Hey, yo, give it here, I'll take care of it for you." Yeah, we got boys, but the thing is, your boys in the world, they might be like, "Hey, what's up?" Or "I got this for you, I did this for you," but it's not the same love. You know, and that's what me and Lloyd was talking about. The brother, even the food that brothers make, it's like the angels come down and strip all the GMO temporarily. We know that all food is defiled, but when brothers make food, that's a labor of love too. You can taste the love in the food. You can taste the care in the food, man. You know what I'm saying? That's all the will of YAHAWASHI, and that's how things are supposed to be done, because YAHAWASHI has showed us love, so now we know how to exude that energy to each other, to the minister, to the saints, to the elect, right? And it says, and do minister. So it is our jobs to minister. It is our jobs to serve. And we do it gladly, man. We do it gladly through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI. All right. Now, let me go to, I'm going to get that one last. This is the section I was talking about. This is Wisdom of Solomon 8. I'm going to start up. I'm going to start at 2. I'm going to start at 1. F it. It says, wisdom reacheth from one end to another mightily, and sweetly doeth she order all things. I loved her and sought her out from my youth. I desired to make her my spouse, and I was a lover of her beauty. You see, so when you're in your youth and you find out about YAHAWASHI, you're supposed to change your ways, right? Now you're trying to get your way in order, because now that's a sweet love. You know, sweet love. My Anita Baker brothers out there, you know, that's a banger too, you know. Sweet love. He said, I desired her from my youth, and I desired to make her my spouse, and I was a lover of beauty. That's your real wife, brother. You know, the one who don't leave you. You know, the one who down by your side no matter what. The one that's, hey, nah, don't go that way, do this, do that, or don't do this, do that. You know, that's you got to be a lover of the beauty of that. So that same wisdom, it says, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. So when this trouble comes, right, and the Lord is showing a blessing upon us, and we're going to be in good shape, right, and we're going to have be in better position than these other people, is because we desire to make wisdom our spouse. The Wadi YAHAWASHI for putting that spirit on us, right? It says, in that she is conversant with Yahweh, she magnifieth her nobility. Yea, the Lord of all things himself loved her, right? So Yahweh and YAHAWASHI love wisdom, you see? And that's why it's so amazing, man, through the spirit. You know, Yahweh and YAHAWASHI love wisdom, and that's a gift that he is given to his elect, man. It says, for she is privy to the mysteries of the knowledge of God and the lover of his works. So you want to know about the Most High, you got to have wisdom. But what is wisdom? It says in order to obtain it, it's the first step, right? It says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge and wisdom. So you got to fear YAHAWASHI, and then wisdom going to try you by her ways and take you by the crooked ways, and then she can dwell with you, man. Right? It says, if riches be a possession to be desired in this life, where is richer than wisdom that worketh all things? So this wisdom is what's going to have us on a different level than these people, right? It's the wisdom, and through the wisdom come the knowledge, come the understanding, come the love, the faith, the charity, right? Come the spiritual power, the healings. All of that comes through your desire to make wisdom your woman. You see? It says, and of prudence work, of who of all that are as a more cunning workman than she. You see? So the riches to be desired in this life, what's richer than wisdom, right? What's working more than wisdom, right? It says, and if a man love righteousness, her labors are virtues. For she teacheth temperance and prudence, right? That's self-control and wisdom, justice and fortitude, how to make righteous decisions, how to fortify your mind, how to keep things safe. It says, which are such things as men have nothing more profitable in their life. You see that? What's more profitable than those things, man? You know, Wisdom of Solomon 8 and 7. Let me I want to get that in the NLT real quick. Someone's telling me to get that in the NLT. You know, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8 and verse 7. It says, I'm going to start at 6. Yeah, this is good. 5. It says, is it good to have riches in his life? Nothing can make you richer than wisdom, who makes everything function, right? Wisdom make everything function. Is knowledge a useful thing to have? Nothing is better wisdom, who has given shape to everything that exists. We were just talking about, yeah, that's the spirit, right? It says that we were talking about how you were going to be in good shape, right? The wisdom has given shape to everything that exists. Do you love justice? All the virtues are the result of wisdom's work. Justice and courage, self-control and understanding. Life can offer us nothing more valuable than these. Call out YAHAWASHI. You see that? All those virtues are the result of wisdom's work. Justice, we're looking from justice from YAHAWASHI on this earth and our enemies. All right? Having courage. Courage comes from YAHAWASHI, man. Because Esau will teach you how to be a coward. YAHAWASHI will teach you how to be a man and how to have courage. And that steps through wisdom. Self-control, having self-control and being able to understand on a higher level. That comes from the Lord. It says life can offer us nothing more valuable than these, right? And you can't get nothing more valuable than that. Not worldly riches, not carnality, not shoes, not a physical woman, not a house, not a car, right? It's through spirit and power, YAHAWASHI. Wisdom is how you're going to obtain these things. All right. Now going back to the KJV, Wisdom of Solomon 8 and 8. It says, if a man desire much experience, she knoweth things of old, and conjectureth aright what is to come. She knoweth the subtleties of speeches, and can expound dark sentences. She foreseeth signs and wonders, and the events of signs and events of seasons and times. So how do we know that judgment is coming? Through the wisdom, through the prophecies, right? So that the expounding dark sentences, right? Subtleties of speeches. All of these things that we learn through wisdom, man. So we're going to be in a better position because of the wisdom that the Lord has endowed unto his elect. It says, therefore, I purposed her to take her to live with me, knowing that she will be a counselor of good things and a comfort in cares and grief. Hey, if you want a woman to abide with you, she got to be on point. You see what I'm saying? So you got to really be comfortable, right? He says to be a comfort in cares and grief. It says, I purposed her to live with me. And that, what does that live with me? Is wisdom a body that comes and walks in your house? No, it's a spirit that dwells in your mind. You see? It says, for her sake, I shall have estimation among the multitude and honor with the elders, though I be young. You see? So wisdom bringeth before great men. All right. It says, I shall be found of a quick conceit and judgment, and shall be admired in the sight of great men. There it is. You see? Through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI. This was King Solomon saying these things, right? Daniel was in the same stead. Jeremiah, right? They all had the same stead of being young men and praying to YAHAWASHI, having wisdom and being able to come before great men. YAHAWASHI. You know, he said he was before doctors and things like that when he was at the age of 12, and they were astonished. It says, when I hold my tongue, they shall bide my leisure, and when I speak, they shall give good ear unto me. If I talk much, they shall lay their hands upon their mouth. You see? So wisdom will make men listen to you, but wisdom will also make men shut the hell up. And I say that in righteousness, you know what I'm saying? Because it makes men be like, man, it makes you want to listen. It makes you want to take heed. It makes you want to learn. It makes people want to, and that's how we are when we're on the highways and byways. That's why people, of course we get scoffers, but the people that's really intent, they want to sit there and listen. It says, I got 3 more verses on here on this lesson. On this section. Moreover, by the means of her, I shall obtain more immortality, and leave behind me an everlasting memorial to them that come after me. So, moreover, by the means of her, so we're gaining, and we're immortal first through the spirit and through these words, right? Brothers, we gonna live forever regardless, right? Even if you gotta get your head cut off in this life, you still gonna live forever. You're gonna be immortal because your works are gonna follow you, and you're gonna be the first one on the chariot. So we immortal regardless, man. But the YAHAWASHI, Lord willing, we be a part of that elect, and we ain't gonna get destroyed just to be reincarnated as a baby from being through, you know? It says, I shall set the people in order, and the nations shall be subject unto me. Horrible tyrants shall be afraid when they do but hear of me. I shall be found good among the multitude and valiant in war. So, hey, man, these different prime ministers and presidents, they worried about the prophets. They worried about the power that's going to come. And they horrible tyrants, and they're going to be afraid when they just hear of the men of the Lord, man. They're going to be like, we got one coming. They're going to be shaking in their boots. They ain't going to know how to act, you know? Let me get this last one here. This is 2 Ezra 2 in verse 26. It says, as for the servants whom I have given thee, there shall not one of them perish, for I require them from among thy number, right? The Lord's going to get these servants, get the elect, right? And none of us are going to perish through the Spirit. It says, be not wary. I love this verse. Be not wary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep and be sorrowful. They're going to be down bad out here, man. But thou shalt be married and have abundance. Thou means you. Right, but you elect brothers, you men, women, and children of the household of David, you're going to be married and have abundance when the day of trouble and heaviness coming. That's a promise from YAHAWASHI. So we don't got to be worried. We don't got to worry. We in good shape, like the brother Ramak said. It says, the heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee, saith the Lord, man. So they're not going to be able to do nothing against us, man. They just going to hate from afar, and they're going to be down bad, and they're not going to have nothing. They're not going to have food, drink, shelter, and they're going to be faithless and godless. Well, we're going to be complete opposite, full of faith, full of the blessings of YAHAWASHI, all right, with his ever-flowing mercy, man. Lord willing, we be found at that number. But, hey, man, I pray, Lord willing, that this lesson was edifying. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and mercy to the elect. Until next time, Shalom.